Oh, to be young and carefree. You think you're invincible, like nothing bad can happen. This is what young Ethan and his friends were foolish enough to believe. What started as a much-awaited trip promising fun, adventure and excitement turned into a heart-wrenching tragedy. This is a story about a boy possessed by an evil djinn because of a dare gone horribly wrong and the heavy price that had to be paid to get rid of it. Now let us get to the story. I was shivering, uncontrollably. Despite the hot, humid summer night in the middle of the desert, I felt sick, disgusted, heartbroken, and guilt. So much guilt. She was gone. The love of my life. So was that thing that had taken control over me. She gave up her life for me. And I just stood there like some sort of helpless loser while that thing released me and took her. I couldn't even look at the others, especially Sarah, my girlfriend. You're probably wondering what's going on. Let me bring you up to speed. This all started around a month ago. My friends and I have known each other since kindergarten. Mark and Jake were practically like brothers to me. Sarah and I started dating in high school. Maya joined our group in college. I couldn't tell Sarah, but Maya made my heart skip a beat every time I saw her. She was beautiful, smart, and had a sense of humour almost as weird as mine. But she was Sarah's best friend, so I ignored my feelings. All of us shared a fascination with archaeology and history. We had this dream of exploring Egypt together. After months and months of planning and saving up, we finally found a way to make it work. So as summer break from college started, the 5 of us boarded a long flight to El Giza. We'd be staying in cheap hotels and eating street food, but we were bursting with excitement. We were young and full of energy. Who cared if we had to walk a little extra and give up on sleep? The first few days of our trip was something out of a movie. It was everything we'd ever dreamed of. We explored the pyramids, wandered around souks and met a lot of interesting locals. One of the things we learned was the story about the haunted mausoleum called Al-Maraksh, or the Whispering Tomb. It was said that this tomb was haunted by a vengeful djinn who captured the soul of any person foolish enough to cross its path. Boo-hoo. A ghost story. You're probably rolling your eyes the way I did when I heard it. Out of curiosity, we looked up this haunted tomb. It was at the outskirts of the city, surrounded by the desert. Being the adventurous souls we were, we decided to camp near this tomb at night. I mean, why not? It's not like any of this was real, right? Might as well enjoy a relaxing night under the stars. The girls weren't really into the idea. Although Jake hides it, I know ghost stories creep him out. But Mark and I managed to convince them. It's not like we were camping inside the mausoleum. Reluctantly, they agreed. Equipped with camping supplies and an old rented truck, we reached Al-Maraksh just a few hours before midnight. It was quite a long drive from the main city. The once grand structure was worn by the wind and harsh weather. Its facade was crumbling. Under the moonlight, it seemed to shine with an otherworldly glow. We didn't stay there for very long. After driving a bit further, we found a nice spot and set up camp. We sat there around the campfire, laughing, joking and talking. Somehow Al-Maraksh came up in conversation. The girls wondered if the stories were true. Could there really be an evil djinn lurking around in the tomb? It definitely looked really creepy. I laughed. Ghost stories were ridiculous. Mark and Jake, daredevils to their core, dared me to spend the night inside Al-Maraksh since I was so brave. I scoffed and agreed. I wasn't going to turn down a dare, especially a dare so easy. Sure, it probably was dark and creepy inside, but it was already 2 in the morning, less than 4 hours till sunrise. "Don't do it, Ethan," said Sarah. "Ethan, don't be ridiculous," said Maya. "Don't worry, babe, I'll be fine," I assured Sarah. "I'll see you in the morning," I added to Maya. Under the moonlight, I swear she looked like an angel. I know it sounds stupid, but I wanted her approval. I was not going to chicken out of some dumb dare. It was settled. I would spend the rest of the night inside Al-Maraksh till sunrise. The group escorted me back to the mausoleum. I stepped forward towards the dark entrance. Okay, I do admit, it looked a little creepy, but it was an old tomb in the middle of the desert. No lighting inside. Obviously, it would make anyone uncomfortable. I switched my flashlight on, waved at the group and stepped into the darkness inside. Little did I know I would curse myself every single day for the rest of my life for doing this. The first hour was uneventful. Had it been daytime, I might have been able to appreciate the cryptic hieroglyphs on the walls. I found a corner, propped up my flashlight on my bag and tried to make myself comfortable. I was already tired. We had started really early in the morning and I was starting to get a little drowsy, but I just couldn't shake off an uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. Maybe I should just go back. I thought of the superior "I told you so" looks that the group would give me. So I just adjusted myself into a more comfortable position, closed my eyes, and ignored the feeling. Just a few more hours. Then I heard it. Faint whispering. It felt like something was calling out to me. Was I imagining it? But it grew louder. No, definitely not imagining it. My flashlight was starting to flicker, which was strange because I had changed the batteries yesterday. That's it, I had enough. I didn't care about anyone's reaction now, I just wanted to get out. Before I could get up, my flashlight completely gave out, plunging me in pitch darkness. Panic rose. I tried to stay calm as I fished out my phone from my pocket. I'll just call the others. Alas, my phone was showing me the dreaded no signal message. My heart was pounding loudly. I was trying my best to keep it together. The whispers were definitely getting louder. And then I saw it. Its form was ever-changing, a swirling vortex of shadow and unearthly light that seemed to defy the laws of reality. A djinn had materialized in front of me. I stood frozen in terror. I couldn't have screamed even if I wanted to. Before I could run or do anything, the world went black as I sunk into oblivion. All I remember hearing was an evil laughter that sent a bone-chilling shudder down my body. When I woke up, I found myself back on my bed at the hotel. Mark, Jake, Sarah and Maya sat around me with looks of deep concern. What happened? How did I get here? I tried to remember. All I got were little hazy flashes. The tomb, the whispers, the djinn. Was it a dream? The others looked extremely relieved when they saw me conscious. They filled me in on how they went looking for me when I didn't show up at sunrise. They found me lying unconscious inside the tomb. Mark and Jake somehow managed to get me back to the hotel. I had been out for nearly 6 hours. The dare had been a stupid idea. At least it was over now and we could get back to our trip. Turns out, the nightmare had just started. Although I felt all right, there were brief moments when I felt unlike myself. There were times I would black out and wake up hours later with no memory of what happened. Sometimes I felt this intense anger that felt like it would consume me. I lost my appetite and refused to eat. The others were getting extremely uncomfortable around me. I could see them avoiding being in the same room as me, talking in hushed whispers, looking at me with concern. I saw scratch marks and bruises on my body. Did I do this to myself? A few days later, I found myself in the back seat of the truck. Maya was driving. I sat between Mark and Jake. I could see the girls giving me cautious glances in the rearview mirror. Then I saw my own eyes and almost jumped in shock. My green eyes had turned a sinister shade of red. After a long drive, I found myself in front of a humble old house in the middle of the desert. A few palm trees gave some relief against the merciless sun. Sarah knocked on the door. A short while later, an old man wearing a turban and sand-coloured robes emerged. Something happened inside of me at the sight of this man. An unspeakable hatred. I wanted to lash out at him, to sink my teeth in him. I felt 2 sets of arms restrain me and take me inside the house. I felt myself being forced into an uncomfortable wooden chair. The man crouched in front of me, chanting something and splashing me with what felt like water. Suddenly I came back to my senses. I slumped in my chair. The old man gazed at me intently. I could hear the others explain the situation. that I had started acting differently, that they had desperately asked around for help till a local trader had hesitatingly told them about a dervish that lived on the outskirts of the city. The old man sighed. He explained that another being had taken control of my body and would eventually consume my soul. He said that he usually did not entertain strangers, but considering the seriousness of the situation, he would help get rid of the thing inside of me. He spoke of an ancient ritual and warned us of the risks involved in the process. Before anyone could say anything, I said, "Do it!" The old man nodded at me and started gathering a few items around the house. He then led us outside and into the desert. The sun had set, and it was starting to get dark. Mark and Jake half carried me since I was too weak to walk on my own. He stopped suddenly. We were in the middle of nowhere. The old man started chanting words in a different language. The air around us seemed to crackle with an unseen energy. I could feel that thing inside me surfacing, taking control of my consciousness. It wouldn't leave without a fight. The old man continued chanting with increasing urgency. I felt profanities spewing from my mouth. I felt myself shout threats in a different language. A sandstorm was stirring in the background. Lightning cracked in the sky, then I felt it release me. I fell to the ground as the djinn materialized. I could hear its evil laugh echoing over the howling wind. Then it spoke in its unearthly voice. A life for a life. What could it mean? The group was frozen in terror as the old man continued his chanting. He was panting under the exertion. How much longer would he be able to keep this up? Then I saw her step forward. That beautiful girl who made my stomach do somersaults. The girl I couldn't have. She looked me in the eye and mouthed, "I love you." I realized what she was doing. I desperately screamed, "No!" But it was too late. The djinn had latched onto her. Her eyes shone a sinister red, her face twisted in a sickening evil grin. She was lifted up in the air by some unearthly force, the lightning illuminating her once gorgeous face for the last time before she disappeared in the swirling sandstorm. The air suddenly became calm. The wind stopped howling. The lightning stopped. Maya had given her life up for mine. Needless to say, our trip was cut short. We barely spoke to each other after that. Sarah wouldn't look me in the eye. We saw each other for the last time at the airport, before parting ways for good. All of us weighed down with grief and guilt. As the years passed by, I tried to move on. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw it over and over again, like some sickening movie. The tomb, the djinn, Maya's face, her red eyes, the old man.
Sleep tight, dear listener, if you can. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, consider subscribing for more bone-chilling stories that will keep you up long after the lights are out. Until next time, remember, sometimes the darkest shadows hide the bravest hearts,